Welcome in, everyone, to episode 56 of the Chillin for Our Lives podcast. I, as always, am your host, Stadium Beats, aka Sean, and I am here, as always, with my co-host, Mr. Mike ElectricityWave.
That's me.
That is you. How are you doing, sir?
I'm feeling great. We got a very interesting episode coming up. Do you want to do a quick little rundown before we just get into it?
Oh, for sure. So it is currently November 3rd for us where we're recording it. You guys are listening to this on Thursday, November 5th. Next gen, the next video game generation is right around the corner. Like literally before the next episode posts, the Xbox Series X is going to be out. And you guys are going to be all enjoying it and stuff. So we thought before we can look forward, we take a little look back at the current gen, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and a little Nintendo Switch in there as well. I'd say that's current generation as well. So take a look back, think about our favorite games, what this gen kind of introduced as compared to the gen before, and just where gaming is now compared to where it used to be. So if you like that idea, please give us a subscribe right here on the YouTube channel that you are watching this video, or follow us on whatever service you are listening to us on the audio version, and review us 5 stars on Apple because we love you and we hope you love us too. So are you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
You're so ready. All right.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So with this, there's so many different directions I can go, but I want to ask you, just straight up, start off with a banger. Is there one game that you can say, yes, this is my favorite game of this last generation?
God of War.
Really?
No,
not even thinking about it.
I don't have to think about it. That's how obvious it is.
What about it? Why? Why God of War?
Well, I think it's just a game that no matter what style of game you prefer, what preference, what interest you have, I feel like it's just one of those games where anytime it's mentioned, it's kind of just like, it's one of the greatest games. Like anytime you mention like Death Note for anime, people are always, for the most part, people are like, that's a great anime. It's just it's
factually perfect.
God of War is just such a badass style of game. You're a god. You have like inhuman powers, supernatural, jumping ability, strength, Kratos has this super unique and profound like voice that's very powerful, so it matches his character. He goes up against these like literal like beasts like that are 50 times the size of him. The story's
God of War 3, he literally fights a titan that carries a temple on his back. Like Kratos doesn't even come up to the top of this guy's foot. And he's like, oh well, you're dying anyway.
He doesn't care, and like the story is very captivating and it's very emotional and it sucks you in, and it doesn't suck you off, but it sucks you in.
Unfortunately, that's what would really put it over the edge, is like best game ever. But for right now, we can say best game of the generation. Yeah,
that's why it's at a 99, and it really would put it over at 100 if it came with the suck. But like, I don't know. It's just one of those games that I'll always remember. It was one of the first single player games I played all the way through. It might have been the first one, which is insane to think about. I obviously played games like Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, Super Mario, but I never really played the game through. And, I started streaming, decided to give God of War a try. It was perfect timing. And I don't know. It was just like, it's exciting to see. I know we keep talking about it. It's exciting to see Ragnarok come out next year. And I don't know. It's just one of those games that it's just so good. Like I don't even know how to explain it, but it's so entertaining. There's like it has a lot of layers to it. It's epic. It's you just feel like such a badass while you play it. I don't have that feeling with any other game like I do with God of War. So for me, it's just the clear winner, and I don't really. There is a second and a third place, but they're out of sight for me.
Yeah, I mean, I could basically echo everything that you just said. I agree. I agree that God of War is my favorite game of the generation. For basically, I would just be reiterating like everything that you just said. So, I'm in agreement with you there. And I'd be surprised if Ragnarok isn't up there in its same caliber.
Yeah.
Just because there's yet to be even a good God of War game, you know? Like the worst God of War game is great. So and they completely changed directions with the game, and not completely, kind of completely changed directions with the game, and just totally blew everyone away. I was kind of worried, but I those worries. The second the E3 reveal where Kratos walked out of the shadows, it was like, yep, this is it right here, and you just knew. They just killed it in every single aspect. Like the gameplay of God of War has always been top tier. This God of War not only improved upon that, it also improved upon every single else like tenfold. Like Kratos is no longer just some pissed off, angry guy that has to kill everyone. He has way more layers to his character. He has a son now, and he has a wife. So a late wife. So he like just has so many different layers, and they have such a clear journey and purpose, and teaching Atreus throughout the throughout everything, throughout the journey, and that whole little like very, very tiny story throughout the game where he can't really tell a good story, and he's just like bad at talking to Atreus kind of. And then at the end, he tells that great epic story of the person that he used to fight with in battle, and Atreus is like, wow, you just told a really good story. And like for something like that to happen at the end, I think was really cool. Just so many things throughout the game. It's amazing, and it's beautiful, obviously.
Yeah, the scene where he carries Atreus. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, that one was awesome. And then probably the maybe of all time, but definitely of this generation, the scene of him going. Huge spoilers right now. So cut fast forward like 45 seconds. The scene where he goes back and retrieves the Blades of Chaos is like an all-time perfect video game moment for me. Like there's very few, if any, that are in that same conversation of just like realizing what was going to happen, and the reveal and the whole thing leading up to it. Just like, oh my God, you know, because I thought the old God of War games were just like backstory. We're totally moving away from that. But then you're in the canoe, and Athena pops up and talks to him for a second in like her ghost form. And dude, the Blades of Chaos, and then the whole Zeus thing coming back, and his whole past coming back to haunt him. So I'm giving myself chills just talking about it. So it's like way too perfect. So yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, the colors of that game, the scenery, the setups where, you know, just to set up scenes that like I said, the epicness of just like the monsters and the beasts. I hope the one big thing with Ragnarok, I really hope they do. I hope when we have our podcast and review this game after we play through it, I hope we're talking about this, but I really hope they amp up the epicness like they did in like God of War 3, even though, you know, I haven't played through all the way through that. But I really hope it's just more of that style, I guess. But yeah, I would definitely say God of War, but there's so many good games to talk about. But if we had to go with the best, I would agree. God of War is the clear winner for me. And for next gen, it'll probably be the same answer unless some crazy new IP comes out that I'm like, damn.
Yeah, at this point, it's going to have to be a new IP, I think. Because it's just like such a crazy cat. That's something that consoles will always be like so good for, is like the crazy insane budgets that PlayStation and Microsoft and Nintendo can like put into a game because they wanted to sell a $400 or $500 box. Like, and they just know they're going to get their money back. And like, obviously you get amazing games on PC all the time, but I feel like even though PCs are so much stronger and quote unquote better than consoles, like from a technical aspect, I still think God of War and The Last of Us 2 look better than any PC game. So, except for like maybe a couple. Right. But it's just like absurd how amazing a console game can be given like the limitations that they have on those, especially like The Last of Us 2 was on 7-year-old hardware and it still looks and feels like it does, which is completely bonkers.
It's mainly probably just because they're optimized so well that it like the developers don't have to worry about, you know, different builds and like there's so many variables with PCs.
Yeah, there are infinite.
Consoles are so consistent, and that's like the biggest advantage and edge to them is that, you know, people just get so used to working on working with consoles and the engines and stuff. So they can push heights and they can be like, all right, well, it can handle this. So, and they can refine all the like little details with PC. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it just creates a lot more problems.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So this generation lasted 7 years, man. That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's so many good games have come out. The industry is so different. The way we interact with games is so different. I remember when they showed the DualShock 4 off for the first time and it had that share button. I remember thinking like, why? It's kind of cool, but you need a whole button dedicated to that. That shit's kind of weird, man. I need my back button back or my select button back. So why do we need to share everything? But now in 2020, it's like, what isn't getting shared? Like, especially now with the introduction of photo mode that you see in so many games these days. Like gameplay clips are being shared all the time. Screenshots are being shared all the time. PS4 has Share Factory in it, which I think is super underrated. You can put together, it's kind of like Adobe Premiere put into a console, which is super cool. You can create your own highlight reels and upload it straight to YouTube or Twitter right from the console. It's like I feel like they were just, I wouldn't say ahead of their time, but they came in right at the right time where it seems like looking back, if they missed that at the time, it wouldn't have seemed like such a big deal, where it's like, having Twitch integration could have been like the big feature of PS5, because that was so long ago. But they both Xbox and Sony really nailed it with that, and streaming has just become like such an integrated part of gaming culture now. Like it's really, really cool.
And like consoles are always recording now too, so it's so crazy how you can double click your middle like Xbox button or PS button, and it just records the last 30 seconds or up to 5 minutes if you want. So like your console's always watching. So like all those crazy clips that used to happen back in the day that never got seen, like everything's getting seen now.
Yep.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's rare that like a moment goes by and you're like, dang, I wish I was recording. Or like, dang, like no one's going to believe that I did that. Right. Because now it's like, well, just hit one button and everyone knows you did that now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wish I would have had this when I was growing up.
Yeah, like Halo, I would have flooded the Twitterverse with my Halo 3 clips, man. Not just because I think they're like particularly amazing now, but at the time I probably would have thought like, oh my God, I got that like flying man cannon no scope or stuck that guy across the map or something. Yeah. Like I would have been uploading Halo 3 clips daily.
Yeah, and just like funny clips with your friends if it would have been catching like voice chat, because it was mainly just gameplay.
Yeah.
So just like imagine having all of the funniest conversations you've had. That would be amazing to go back and like listen to those.
Yeah, that would be like such a like going through an old photo album kind of, but of old voice album. Man, that'd be awesome.
Truly.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to talk about with this current gen is I think last gen we really saw a big indie boom. Like a big indie boom between games like Journey that are literally competing for Game of the Year against monster games. Like, but then this gen, they've really like indie games and AAA games are basically one and the same now. Like, not that they look the same or they perform the same or they like have the big budget feel to them, but just like you don't think about something like, let's say, Inside. You don't think about Inside and then you don't think about like, if you put Inside next to God of War, for example, you don't like compare them differently like we used to, I think. Like, do you remember when the Xbox Live Arcade first came out and the games on there were so like just bare bones, maybe like a little puzzle game here or there. Geometry Wars was like the big amazing game on there, which I still love, of course.
God tier game.
God tier game, definitely. But now you have games like all the time, all these random indie games are coming out that are like really good and they have great art, like they can stand out for so many other ways, like its art direction or its crazy story or gameplay hook or something like that. And they're just like a part. Yeah, they're just like a part of the game culture now. It's really, really cool that one person can sit down and make a game and have it be good.
Yeah, I don't think we appreciate that much, or we don't appreciate it as enough as we should, because like you said, back, when the Xbox Live Arcade was a thing, like it was just like pretty much mobile games on console. But now games feel, the only difference is pretty much like the budget. like is different. But you can make a game like we talked about in the episode with Sorry, that like is Among Us or Fall Guys, where there's a lot less into it, like as far as like budgeting and like graphics and stuff, but there's so much thought into the concept of the game, like you said, the gameplay hook. So it's really just comes down to, is it a good game? I don't really care about what it looks like. If it's fun, then it's gonna compete with a top AAA game.
Exactly. Yeah, you could be playing Fall Guys and just your little dude running along this path, like, you know, nothing crazy, just some fun little game. You can be like, but yo, check this game out. Look at Assassin's Creed, man. There's like this huge thing. Look how real it looks, and you can do all these crazy things. You can, and they're like, bro, get the fuck out of here. I'm trying to run across this little rotating cylinder. Like, I'm having fun playing Fall Guys. Get away with your big, huge, big budget game,
dude.
Like, it's
Fall Guys pretty much recreated a 3D version of Doritos Crash Course and made it Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Because Doritos Crash Course was a god tier 2D. It was like a 3D side scroller, right? Was that what you would say?
Yeah, it was like a side scroller, but it wasn't like, it had like 3D graphics and things like that.
Dude, it's so crazy how much I played that game for like what it was.
Yeah, and they gave that away for free.
Yep.
That was before free was the thing. I remember thinking like if I went back on my Xbox 360 library, I bet I got like 2 or 3 free games that like on that console. Now it's like if a game, people like expect new random games to be free to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. They gave the god tier Doritos Crash Course game away like it was nothing.
They gave away less free games, but they didn't charge you up the ass for microtransactions. So like, it's always going to be, you know, there's going to be money to be made somehow. Yeah.
Doritos Crash Course probably didn't have any microtransactions, if I remember right.
Yeah, I don't remember. I just remember parts of it, like jumping onto like the chain or the ropes, and you could like slide down and swing off of them, and then you would slide down like the triangular ramps and like jump, get like a jump boost.
Yep.
Oh, that was so fun. And there was like, they had like different categories. They had like USA, they had like Europe. They had Japan. Japan was like the hardest difficulty for maps. They have like 4 maps in each country. Dude, that game was sick. And you'd compete with your times. It was like America's Ninja Warrior, but like Marble Blast Ultra, like where you'd compete with your friends' times. Like it was competitive.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I bet that game's older than a few of our listeners, which is funny. Probably because it came out in like, I don't feel like looking it up, but it probably came out in like 2008, 7, somewhere in there. So
if we have people that are 12 listening to the podcast,
maybe.
God damn.
I feel like given our Twitch like integration and audience and community and stuff like that, there's got to be a 12 or 13-year-old listening. What up?
Yeah, who's our youngest listener?
Yeah, that would be great to find out.
And I don't know if people want to say this, but who's our oldest? People hate talking about their age. I get it.
Yeah. But if you are 12 and you're listening to this, I want to know, do your parents know? And if so, I'm sorry. But
yeah, I mean, we can't control who listens, but I apologize.
Yeah, it's all right. But yeah, so I just wanted to highlight a few indie games like personally that I loved that came out this generation. Celeste, Inside, Cuphead, My Friend Pedro, Dead Cells, Shovel Knight, and Hades. There's so many more. Like I already thought of 3 that I'm like fuck, but like I would just sit here and list games all pod, you know. But I wanted to shout those out specifically. Just so good. Whether they were made by just a few people like Celeste or like a whole team of people, it's great to see that games like that can exist now because they have the beauty and the charm of games of old that make me nostalgic for video games from back then, but they still feel so current and new, and I love that we can still have such a good balance. So that's why I just wanted to talk about indie games for a bit.
Yeah, the thing with like that you do a lot better job of than me is you recognize what's indie and what's not, and I don't. So
yeah, the indie. I mean, the term indie is kind of loosely used these days. Like, for example, Devolver Digital published My Friend Pedro. So like, is that an indie game? I guess not technically, but it's basically it's just if it's not a big AAA game, it's an indie game. So it's like You can kind of tell if it has that look or that feel. Like even Child of Light, a UB art game that came out quite a few years ago now. It was published by Ubisoft, so it's like the exact opposite of an indie game, but it still had that indie feel. Like you can tell that that's what they were going for. And people don't consider it an indie game, but if you just looked at it and didn't know what it was, then you'd be like, oh yeah, this is like some small publisher game.
So, yeah. One of the games that you mentioned, Inside, I played that. I think either super early this year or late last year, and that game like caught me by surprise. I got it off of I think Epic Games Store for free, and I don't know, it had such an interesting like. I usually am not a big fan of puzzle games. Like figuring shit out is cool sometimes, but like it gets frustrating if I don't get it like right away or like even after a couple minutes. If I'm just standing there doing nothing, I'm just like, all right, like, what's the catch?
Right.
But then, I was playing Inside, and just like the little twist that they have, the different environments you go into, the different, like tools you use or just abilities or like vehicles. Like I was really like, I think I was sucked into the story of the game and the vibe of it with the music. It was super intense too. Like when you'd get chased by certain things in the game, I loved the setup of it. And old ElectricityWave before, like Detroit Fan 20 would have looked at that game and would have been like, the fuck is this? I'm not playing this.
Right. You can't ADS in this game.
I can't ADS. I can't wall bounce. Like
there's not a battle pass.
Yeah.
Fuck this game.
Yeah, it's like a side scroll, like 3D version game where I was like, I don't even know. I've never even played something like this, like old me. But then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try. You recommended it, and I think I beat that game in like 2 or 3 days. Like I was hooked from the beginning. So
it brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah, and another game like that where I really want to try is Journey. But yeah, it's really cool to see. Hades was really fun as well. Is Ori and the Will of the Wisps made by AAA, or would it be like an indie?
I mean, it's kind of indie. Like it's Xbox exclusive, but it's not published by Microsoft. I don't think. I don't think people put it in the same category. I don't know. Right. Like I said, it's so like wishy-washy. I'd have to look up. Yeah.
They need to come up with a new term. That's mid-tier.
They do. There used to be, I guess AA is kind of a term. Back in like the PS3 era, PS3, Xbox 360 era, AA games were like so much more common, or like licensed games. Like you would see like the new DreamWorks movie, like Back at the Barnyard or whatever, would have a game attached to it. Like there used to just be such a wider gamut of games to come out. But now it's like you're either a huge budget game or like a small little game. The middle ground is kind of cut out more than it used to be.
Right.
Middle games definitely still exist, but just not like they used to. But yeah, I guess indie and AAA is basically your two way too broad umbrellas that you fit under these days.
Like, yeah, and so like going back with like Ori and the Will of the Wisps, that game had so much color and vibrance, and the way that you would like learn new abilities and how the story would kind of captivate and zoom in, and the music would start playing and you would get attached to like an owl.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And I don't know, the storytelling of that game was really good. The side characters were even important because they had a story to tell. They would kind of like show you where they, like the person you're looking for went or what happened here. And they would also have merchants, and they would like talk to you. I don't know. I really liked it. But the thing that really didn't like got me out of it was like the what's it called? Metrovanian? Metroidvania like style where you'd have to revisit, and I felt like I just got lost a lot, but it was still a super well made game. For sure.
Yeah. And like with Inside, going back to Inside for a second, there's no like dialogue in that game. And
it's crazy.
Yeah, like they still create you instantly get this kind of off vibe. Like you can tell that it's not gonna be all like puppies and rainbows in this game. But then like but then as there's definitely puppies in the game though. And as add that freaking rip your throat out.
Fuck that. Oh my god, dude. There's a part where you like have a fence to climb over and the dogs are chasing you.
Yeah,
and they're barking they're barking in your ear, and the audio is so good in that game. And there's this part where you have to climb the fence, and the dogs can go. They have to like make a U shape to go around. Like they can't just like go through the fence, so they have to go around. And I literally was like playing like Ring Around the Rosie with the dogs, but scared for my fucking life.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
And terrifying.
Yeah. So like because you're like a kid too. So the first time you die from a dog, like kind of towards the beginning, or like I think there's cops at the start.
Oh yeah, with the flashlights.
Yeah, and they like tase you, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, like this game's kind of brutal. Like I'm some kid that was just murdered by these two guys. And then like wow, I love the one part where you're like in line with those with the people, and you have to walk in rhythm.
They're scanning.
And you have to like make them think that you're just another person falling in line. It's so good. If you guys have to play Inside if you haven't, please. It's totally worth its full asking price. I think its full price is like $15 or $20, but that game goes on sale for $5 all the time. Please play Inside. It's so good. And I'm really looking.
Too.
Yeah, and like you can play. I think you can beat it in like 4 or 5 hours, depending on how some of the puzzles take you to beat, how long they do. But I'm very much looking forward to their next game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. So big up to all you indie developers. We definitely recognize you, and I know I see your guys' games sell like hotcakes. So you love to see it. So next we kind of touched on like what this generation is like introducing, and so let's go a different direction where besides streaming and things like that, we saw a big rise of I kind of want to group all of these together. We've got microtransactions, loot boxes, and loot boxes and battle passes. I don't think any of those things existed. Well, microtransactions did, but for the most part, those were introduced this generation, and they've kind of like changed the game, really. Yeah. Like, yeah. So, yeah. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Well, that's like every single game, no matter if it's a sports game, if it's a third-person shooter, a first-person shooter, MMO. Like every game has a battle pass. Yeah. Card game. Every game has a battle pass, different like store updates, just like any way that they can pretty much show you like cosmetics that you really want, but there's a paywall, and no matter like how cool the stuff you can earn is, it's not going to be as cool as the store stuff or the event for like holidays or like a competitive scene. If you watch like the LGS or like a Rocket League game, on their Twitch, then you earn a skin. Like there's always ways to get you to either spend money or watch the competitive scene.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's definitely pluses to it and a lot of negatives, but I'd say the positives are that games are focusing more on just keeping it fresh, and games lifetime spans are a lot longer than they used to be. Imagine, playing like a multiplayer shooter game with no updates, hardly any new maps, just for like a year. That shit would get stale as fuck. You're not a little kid where you can just play with your friends every single night, and it never gets old. Like shit gets old now. There's like gamers have like a bigger request for content now. Like you have to constantly be stimulating and listening to the community and bringing in new stuff, or else they're gonna leave your ass for this new game that just came out, because there's a new game every other day, feels like.
Yep.
So yeah.
So that was another thing. We can kind of add this too, because that was another topic I wanted to talk on and discuss too, is that games can just live forever now.
Yep.
So like Rainbow Six Siege, I think, is a great example of that. And another game that you recently got into, No Man's Sky, where now this gen is another big thing that was introduced this gen is updates, where obviously last gen we had updates, and they were still significant, but like on PlayStation 3 especially, there is this huge certification process you had to do. There would be like the PC version of the game would get an update, and then the PS3 and 360 version would be updated like a month later or something. Like it was ridiculous. But now like this gen, you could just get like updates no matter what, like just pump it out, So now a game like No Man's Sky can have a disastrous launch, and now what is it, like 4 or 5 years later, now be a game where people look at and like, yeah, they ended up being pretty good. And like Rainbow Six still has millions upon millions of players playing it all the time. New seasons introducing new characters, new maps, new guns. Games they can be free, like with the whole microtransactions or battle pass thing. Games are cheaper than ever now. Like you can get the actual game, like the base bare bones game, for like free or for $20 or whatever. But then they make their money back from all these people buying $5 skins or $20 skins.
They chip away at your wallet.
Yeah. So if you let them, you know, like, I've played Apex more than almost every other game in my life, kind of like, as like an individual game. And I think I've maybe spent $40 on it tops, maybe, where I've bought hundreds of $60 games probably. So, you kind of just like do, you know, you can spend what you want a lot of the time. So I think that's cool. I didn't expect myself to go in this direction of this discussion of like just being high on it, but it's just so different in a good way and a bad way. Obviously, we were introduced to the whole surprise mechanics that EA tried to force on us with games like Battlefront 2 or whatever, and loot boxes are literally banned in some countries. So with gambling addictions and things like that. And it's insane that you can see stories of like this kid ran up their mom's credit card bill by spending $13,000 in FIFA 19. Like that shit is completely asinine, but you know, corporations are going to corporation. So if you're smart and you know what to do with your money and you can vote with your wallet, that kind of thing, it's I can see the good in it for sure. Battle passes don't have to be terrible, like Reddit will try to make you believe.
Yeah, I wonder what the next step for, you know, gaming is going to be in terms of like, are there just going to be more battle passes? Are they going to do subscription based? Are they going to do just one payment and then still like, are they going to have both where you pay $60 for the game but stuff's going to be cheaper in the store? Like, I don't know.
Gears 5 will tell you that that's not a good idea, is charging $60, but then also do a Fortnite model at the same time. That didn't work out for them, but EA's tried that too with Battlefront.
They had a worse than Fortnite model because their skins were more expensive.
Were they more than $20?
When Gears first came out, they had like, you'd get like one snub pistol skin and it'd be like $20.
Oh yeah,
it was bad.
I was thinking the characters. Yeah, I forgot about the guns. The guns were bad.
You get 3 of the skins, and with Fortnite, you get 1 wrap. You get it for everything. You don't just get it for the shoddy. In Gears,
it's usually like $5.
Yeah, in Gears they charged like $20 for like 3 skins. It was so bad.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Kind of. You can go back and listen to episode 2, I think, to hear all about that. Maybe 1.
Yeah, and sprinkled in for the rest of the 55 that we've done.
Yeah,
just
this
us
is probably
bitching.
The 69th time we've bitched about Gears 5 store.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess just with gaming, I don't know. Maybe they find them. I don't know. It just depends on, because I know there's definitely going to be game devs out there that are going to try to go, you know, gamer and community friendly, and they're going to try to make stuff as cheap as possible and earnable. But then there's going to be, you know, Madden, 2K, WWE, and they're going to be charging you to like go through the menu. So,
yeah. If you want to play, online, that's another $5. Do you want to like, oh, you got pinned, give us $5 and you'll kick out at 2.
Pay to win.
Yeah. I think you mentioned subscription models. I think, so we're seeing that a lot. And I think that's going to become more of a thing. Because basically, I think at the moment, almost every publisher has one already. Like major publisher, like EA has EA Play, Ubisoft has Uplay Plus or whatever they call it now. They just changed their model. Xbox has the Game Pass, which I think is like the standard at this point of like, or not the standard, but the bar of setting like how great it can be. PlayStation has had PlayStation Now for quite a while. And because people like outside of gaming, even like subscription is just kind of how people consume content now, you know, between
it's media.
Like, yeah, like you have your Netflix subscription, you have your Spotify subscription, you have your cell phone bill. Like you're just kind of used to just like, let me give you $10 or $15. Netflix just bumped up their prices yet again. It's like $17 now or something.
Jeez.
Yeah, but like Just let me give you money every month and then fuck off and give me everything, you know? Like, that's how people are used to paying for things now. So I think you might see that more, except with indies being a thing, it's kind of tough. What if Steam came out with a thing like
I was literally going to say that.
month? Yeah,
I was just waiting for you, but I was
sorry,
like,
to steal your idea,
it's fine. But
yeah, you just give Valve like $50 a month or 20 or whatever, and you can just play everything. I don't know how they would divvy that up.
Dude, they dominate. They dominate. They have like 3 trillion games on their website or their software or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know how they would like. I don't know if that's even possible, because how do you determine like? I mean, I guess you could look at the numbers and like this month, 75% of our, or I guess like 15% of our user base bought this game, and only 5% bought this game. So I don't know. That you got to have some kind of like master's degree to figure that shit out, and that's something I do not have, of course. But
yeah, Steam would have to work out so many contracts because they have so many partnerships with different like games.
Yeah.
So that would be super confusing and stressful to work out those contracts. And then also, if they pulled it off, though, they'd probably be the first $1 trillion company. Think about how many people would subscribe to that. Steam is insanely popular.
Yeah, I think I would consider it. No, never mind. I wouldn't I definitely wouldn't do it, but I think the idea would be good, and people would do it for sure.
I would 100%, because the amount of content and games I could play for YouTube or just stream, like imagine having every Steam game at your hands.
If you think there's not enough time in the day now, imagine having access to every video game.
Yup. You're playing a new game every day.
Yeah, dude, games would be dead like after an hour. People would work on a game for 5 years and then ship it, and player base would plummet 98% after the first hour. Rip those people, dude. It's so crazy how just fast things are now. Like with anything, albums don't live longer than a day anymore.
It's only gonna get worse.
Yep, it's unfortunate. Like, like especially with Netflix, like because with Netflix, like a series, or like Disney Plus or whatever, like with shows, like you work on a show for 2 years, and then people consume it literally in 8 hours, and they're like, all right, when's the next season?
Yeah, I mean, like, they make a shit ton of money though, because all those people binge it.
Yeah, they do for sure.
And then the word of mouth happens. It gets trending on Twitter. Like, media definitely helps, but like you said, like consuming is faster. So, as a writer, director, actor, whatever, you're like, fuck, we got to be like, as soon as we release this, like we're already filming the new one. Yep. So, like, there's really no time for rest. Like, I can't imagine what like the Game of Thrones people were going through with all of the people that were just obsessed with that show and just like basically screaming and begging for a new season. Like, and there's so much like work that goes into that as far as like production and just shipping the entire team to fucking Antarctica or Mars to shoot like one scene.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah, I remember there was some like Game of Thrones leaks where it was either Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead or both. Maybe where they would film multiple versions of each scene just in case something got leaked. So then they would be like, well, no, that was like the fake scene that didn't actually happen.
Wow.
Yeah, because like people would figure out, you know how obsessed some people are. They would figure out like, oh, Game of Thrones is shooting over in this country, you know? Like, so then they'd go try to find it or whatever. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. What were some of your favorite moments this gen? Like, it could be in game, like what we talked about with God of War, or it could just be something in general, like logging onto Fortnite a couple summers ago with your friends. Like, what are some of your like memorable moments from this gen?
I wish I wrote them down because I was trying to think of some, and I don't know. I would say off the top of my head, from Fortnite, it would definitely be the different events they had. When you and Justin went in season 5 and watched, I think it was season 5, right? With the cube.
I don't remember. That sounds right.
I think when we went and watched the cube and just how cool it was to like when people were figuring out it would flip every 90 minutes. So then we would just be sitting in creative and just like watching this big ass cube that had all this power. I think just opening up Fortnite for the first time when we were at my house and I downloaded it and I was playing solos. And I remember being in a gas station, getting my first kill, clipping it.
Yep.
Getting my first Fortnite win. I would say also like playing Gears Ultimate Edition when I used to play game battles and There was this one time where I threw a grenade and someone threw a grenade and it bounced off the wall. And when you play game battles, like friendly fire's on.
Oh,
so when they threw the grenade and it bounced back, I remember I was with one of my close friends at the time. I used to play with every day. His scream was so genuine. We were in a game battles, but after hearing that scream, all 5 people on the team were crying laughing because this dude screamed like he was literally dying in real life. So like just stuff like that was really funny. I guess I would say also like The Last of Us 2, just seeing like, you know, the end of that. I won't spoil it, but just finally getting to play that game. Kingdom Hearts 3 was really cool. I was like super fortunate to play 1, 2, and 3 almost in a row because I didn't play the series until super late. But
you didn't have to wait 20 years.
Yeah, for people that had to wait 20 years, I'm sure that's like a top moment. Control, playing that game, finally understanding what it was really cool. Spider-Man was really fun. Until Dawn was a super... I mean, it got a lot of like popularity because of like, it was just like a really unique game. The butterfly effect type story. But I really think that was such a well-made game.
Yeah.
And the voice acting was it's cool that Jordan Fisher was in it. And just like, I don't know, the gameplay was really good. It was scary, had jump scares. I'm excited to see like what they make with the next gen. Minecraft re-blew up, which is crazy. It was always popular, but like it, you know, with streaming, it's just crazy to see how games can catch on fire like super fast with Among Us and Fall Guys. There's a lot of like great moments, but yeah, I would say those are like my top, I guess.
The first one that I think of, it's kind of cheating because it's like a PC thing, not exactly like a generational console thing. But I will never forget playing Doom 2016 on PC for the first time. Like, because this was the first 2 years ago was when I got my first gaming PC, and it instantly. I'm such a diehard console fan that like it would literally piss me off to just see like PC Master Race or whatever, or to just see that shit, you know, because I was like younger and I just like that shit drove me up the wall, you know. So
that's funny.
Yeah, but then like I get older and I kind of realize like, well, factually this shit makes sense. So I've got to buy in. So I built my PC, and then the first game I played on it was Fortnite, and I just remember instantly thinking like, wow, like this is better. And then but Fortnite's kind of like cartoony, and I was still using a controller, and like I played Call of Duty 2 and Battlefield 2 and Battlefront 2 way back in the day on my old house computer, like on super low settings and everything. But then I got Doom. I bought Doom on sale for like $6 or something. And
I was there.
Yeah, you were at my place. It just like completely blew me away. Like it's the smoothest game I've ever played at that point. It was so beautiful. It completely like all of those years of like being console, of just like thinking that computers were stupid. All of that stuff was just wiped in a single frame. Yeah. And yeah, it was so sick. So I'll never forget that. Going back to consoles, leaving the plateau in Breath of the Wild is like a huge moment for people, and that really hit me as well. Because like it was a brand new console, you got the Nintendo Switch. I've never been the biggest Zelda fan. There's a few that I really liked, like A Link to the Past, I love, but I was never too high on the series. But then that game, I thought it was great, and it was really, really cool, and I love the idea of it just throws you out there and says like, figure it out. And then you finally, as you start to figure it out, and then you leave the plateau initially with the wind sails or whatever they're called, the glider. And then you just see how massive and beautiful the world is. And you're like, all right, where do I start? And you can pick wherever you want to go. That shit was so cool.
I gotta do that.
And then PT is another huge one. Another story. I really hope this doesn't drag for the fans. I really like shit like this, and I really hope it comes across. So I guess this episode might be.
If I fall asleep, then you know.
After this one, I think we should both do a rapid fire question and then get back to the games.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea. But this is a quick anyway. So like when PT was first announced, I was sitting with my friends. It was E3, like Super Bowl for gamers, all that stuff. And then they announced this random ass game. You know, it's AAA game after amazing game after amazing game. And then just this random ass, like scary looking game that looks kind of weird, made by this publisher or by this developer that nobody's ever heard of. And it's just called PT. Everyone's like, what the fuck was that? And then they just move on to the next game and you're like, okay, whatever. And then, and it said available now to download. So then we watched the whole conference. It's amazing. And then we're like, what about that PT game that we could play? So I boot up my PS4, download it right there with my friends, and we sit there and we play through it. And we're like, and it instantly like, what the fuck is this? It's terrifying. It's so cool. It's got this amazing idea, but it was like incredibly complicated. So the whole internet blew up that entire night of trying to figure out what the fuck is this and how do we beat it. And then someone finally beat it. And after you beat it, it announces that it's a Silent Hill reboot that Hideo Kojima is making, that Norman Reedus is starring in. And it was like such a fucking cool moment, dude. And everyone was just super pumped. It ended up not happening because fuck Konami, all that good stuff. But just that PT moment itself was so cool. And then Konami like is trying to wipe the game from existence. You can buy a PS4 on eBay that has PT installed on it for like $1,000 or something. Like,
jeez.
It's just such this relic of time now. It's so fucking cool. And then lastly, just seeing Sean Layden, Phil Spencer, and Reggie Fils-Aimé all on stage at the Game Awards a few years ago was really, really cool too.
What's that one guy that is like, remember you were telling me we would watch YouTube videos of the dude and he'd be super animated but like cringy, but like funny.
Oh God.
He would always be at the Game Awards and we would look up like top up. Yes.
He was E3. It was Mr. Caffeine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was cool. Yeah, Mr. Caffeine. There's so many good E3 moments. Like God of War being announced and all that good stuff. But
bring him back.
Yeah, dude, if Ubisoft ever brings back Mr. Caffeine, they win that E3. But yeah, like the Game Awards thing, because Sean Layden at the time was the president of PlayStation, Phil Spencer is the president of Xbox, and Reggie was the president of Nintendo of America. So to just see them all come together and be like, gaming is just cool and awesome and fuck console wars and all that stuff, that was a cool moment too. So
the fact that there's still console wars and they did that, bruh.
Yeah.
Shows how stupid people are.
Yeah, and like when The Last of Us came out and totally blew away everybody, Xbox like went on Twitter and was like, yo, congrats on your game release. It's amazing. Like, it's so, I mean, I know they're like corporations or whatever, but you know, it's stupid.
They're competitive, but they're all on the same team ultimately, because the better that gaming does, the better that they do.
Yep.
I also, when you were talking about all those moments, I was just thinking about how cool it was to play Pokemon on a home console.
Yeah.
And just always, as always, Mario Kart, a new Mario Kart and a new Smash Bros is really cool. So,
yeah. Yeah, that initial Smash trailer when they announced that everyone was in it, that was cool. That was a really good moment. They were like showing some people, they're like, Mario's here and Link is here and all that stuff. And then eventually you're like, holy shit, like, is this everyone? Then they're like, everyone is here. And like, oh my God, it is everyone. They had every stage, every character. So dope. Okay, let's do a rapid fire question.
All right.
Let's talk about dicks or something.
All right. What's your favorite dick?
My own.
Same. Okay, I'll start. What game are you hoping to see for next gen?
Oh man. I hope Naughty Dog makes a brand new IP.
Yes.
That has to happen. The Last of Us 3 better not exist. You better believe if it does, I'll play it the second they let me. But please don't make The Last of Us 3 Naughty Dog's newest game. And don't make Uncharted 5 or whatever either. Like Uncharted 4 ended on such a perfect note. Please don't extend it or make a prequel or play as some side character. Like, just end it and the move on. It's fantastic. It's Naughty Dog. It's going to sell no matter what. They don't have to rely on old IP.
Right.
So that's what I want to see. And I want to see a game blow up. For Honor kind of tried to do this, but it didn't exactly succeed, I don't think. I want to play a game that plays like a shooter, like Call of Duty or Apex or whatever, except I want it to be melee combat instead of guns.
Like the Xbox new IP. I think it does have guns in it, but remember that guy had like a samurai sword. He had a gun.
I think that's like a single player game though. I want it to be like you load up in like a 5v5 deathmatch or something, but it has awesome controls. Like it feels like a Ninja Gaiden game. Like For Honor was close. Like I like its idea, but there's just something about it where I don't know, it didn't catch on as much, or it could be better, even though For Honor is really good. I want to see something like that. especially now with like how good netcode is and stuff. Like, just give that game rollback and throw it out. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I like that idea. It's so tough. I would just like to see. I would like to see less battle royale. I would want to see like just a super well made shooter that's not battle royale. That's what I would like to see. Has great story.
I bet you'll get one.
Phenomenal mechanics. I don't know if I would rather have first person or third, because I like both for different reasons. Like, I really enjoy Rogue, but the mechanics still do feel stiff.
Yeah, that game feels hella stiff to me.
Yeah, it does. Like, the characters are stiff. I like everything else about the game, but even when you watch it, you can kind of just tell. I want something that feels super fluid, like a Gears, and I want it like to have the feeling of like Halo Team Deathmatch too, where it's just like a pure fun, tons of content, a lot of great collabs, but like pretty much like what, I don't know, I guess like what Fortnite does without the building and without just all the super competitive players, where it's just like insane, where there's no casual play, which I get it. Like, you want to adapt and be good at a game too, but I don't know. I just like to find a really cool, like a shooter game that's just like has really good lore and isn't BR, I think.
Yeah, I think you'll get that. It does seem like every shooter is a battle royale these days, but that can't last forever. And even if it does, like, I think you'll get your good, like, map based, squad based, or whatever, 4v4, 10v10 even. Like, if DICE can turn around Battlefield, oh man, that would be super dope. I would love that. Yeah, I think you got a pretty good chance at that happening.
And a really good, I want a solo player game, like if Naughty Dog made one, but I don't want it to be realistic, where it's just like some dude or some girl surviving in a zombie apocalypse. I mean, that kind of contradicts what I said. Like, realistic in the fact where you're just like a human. I want it to be like, I like the God of War crazy style, Ninja Gaiden. You're fucking doing backflips, throwing swords everywhere. You have powers. I like mystical.
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
Godfall is looking like that could have that kind of potential.
That with PvP would, or like some like how they do raids on World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
that would be something I want, where it's like super fun to grind.
Yeah, a game like Destiny that plays like Ninja Gaiden, I would take that game, or like Devil May Cry or something like that. Oh my god, that would be fun. You wouldn't be able to quit, like, get me off that game.
All right, that'd be sick.
All right, mine. I only have one rapid fire question this week. If you had to be a manager for a content creator, who would you like to be the manager for?
Probably Hamlin's and tell his ass to stream.
All right, that's a good answer.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, anyone that I would be a manager for, I'd probably tell them to like do more collabs with other funny people and just create more content. But that's obviously, they just do what they want. That's like the whole point of being your own boss.
Right.
So I get it, but I'm just gonna try to do that with me. Like, whatever I would want, like Hamlin's or CDN the third to do, like, which they pretty much do what I would do, but I wish that they would collab with more funny people and they kind of stay in their own group. And I would I want to do pretty much what I see. I would go out like what Andrew Santino does with Whiskey Ginger. He's a comedian and he has a podcast. He reaches out and like gets people from the internet and like all types of different people from different like cliques and groups. Like, he doesn't only work with his inner circle of comedians. Like, I like that. I want to like work with people that you would never expect, because that's the shit that blows up and it's super like interesting content. Like when Dashie collabed with Logic and played like fighting games and played Mario Kart, that shit was amazing. So I want to do stuff like that where people are just like, they would never expect a collab like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This is a tough question, because like anyone that I would pick is probably someone that's like famous already. So they are, who am I to tell them what they should be doing, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it would just be fun. I think it'd be fun to manage someone like Mr. Beast just because of the crazy ideas you guys could come up with. I would love to just sit in like a boardroom with him for an hour or two and come up with like 10 video ideas. Because I feel like there's literally no limits. He gave away a private island on one of his videos. Like he like there is no limit of what. Basically, you could do everything outside of like last one to touch the moon keeps it or something like that. Like
I wonder if he's ever gonna give away a planet or a star.
Yeah,
sure he will.
Yeah, like I got Elon Musk here. Here's my boy Elon. We're all gonna fly to the moon today. Make sure to drop 10,000 likes if we actually get onto it. And then last person to touch it, it's yours. You can keep the moon.
That shit better get more than 10K likes. Or else that's a flop.
Yeah, oh yeah. Dude, you go to the moon. You gave away the moon.
That's a billion views.
Can't hit 10,000. Oh yeah.
I wonder if he has ever. I think I feel like he's got to have an idea where he does something with Elon or space or something super crazy where it's like got to be like a potential for 1 billion views.
Yeah, I wonder if someone of his level, what he thinks like, man, I can't wait until I can do this.
Yeah.
Like what do they think? Because when
it's his pinnacle, right?
Yeah, like what I think, like I can't wait until I do this is stuff that like isn't really that crazy. But
yeah,
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the results or the potential is limitless, man. We're already coming up close to an hour.
Yeah, I have one rapid fire question left. If you want to like wrap up some stuff and then, or like do the last rapid fire and then wrap up, maybe.
Yeah, sure, that works for me. Let's do it.
Okay,
because I don't have one. This is it right here for rapid fire.
That's fine. What my question is, what's the best or most creative weapon you've ever used in a game?
Oh man, that's a great question.
Told you I was coming in with that heat.
Yeah. Most creative. Fuck. Do you have an answer? Because I have to really think about this one.
I know. That's what I said. Like, it's a great question, but it's super hard. It's like we might not have an answer.
Yeah, I have some favorite ones. Like so I'll just start here with realistic games or weapons, like whether it's real life or like a realistic TV show or a game like Condemned. Big shout out to Condemned, super throwback. But if you can take a 2x4 or a baseball bat and put nails through it, I love that shit. I love that. It's so brutal. It's like realistically brutal. And you just think about how much damage that would do. So I really loved being able to use that in Condemned, Criminal Origins, and a few other games. In Ninja Gaiden 2, there's a weapon where you have claws that you attach to your hands and feet. And then you just like punch and kick basically, but you have these super sharp claws. And that played totally different than the regular dragon sword. So I loved using that weapon, and it just totally sliced the fuck out of enemies. And then the classic is the Gears of War Lancer. Like, it's such a basic but super creative, ingenious idea of like, let's take an assault rifle and put a chainsaw on it. It's just like ridiculous enough to be like, you have to love it. So yeah, those are the three I would start with.
Yeah, gear. You can't go wrong with gear. I was gonna say the oh fuck me. The Hammer at Dawn from Gears is a great weapon. One. You call in a signal. It uses like UPS or like
it uses what?
It uses delivery service. It uses FedEx.
They're like, what can brown do for you? And it totally just blows up a whole country.
You see a guy dressed in brown. Oh man.
All of Gears of War 1 is brown, so they would totally fit right in.
Yeah. What am I thinking of? GPS.
GPS is probably what you're thinking of.
Use UPS and GPS combining the ultimate duo.
Damn.
And like a fucking laser from the sky shoots down like lightning, explodes on the ground, and you use like a red laser to like where you're gonna shoot. It's like one of the most OP weapons in Gears. Yeah,
and I love that they treat it like that. Like that's part of the story. Like I have you can't see it because of my camera angle, but I have the Gears 3 Collector's Edition, or Gears 2? Gears 2 or Gears 3 Collector's Edition box back there, and the Hammer of Dawn blueprints are in it. Like,
oh, that's sick.
Yeah, and like that's such a big part of the story is like, they're gonna drop the Hammer of Dawn. It totally fucked up everything and it ended the Pendulum Wars and all that stuff. Like they treat it like some OP crap.
Yeah, so that's really sick. The Hammer of Dawn. Also, I really like the ray gun from Call of Duty Zombies. And we can't forget the Wonderwaff, the electric gun where you shoot. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but you shoot at one zombie, and if they're in a group, the electricity shoots through all of them and it kills them all. And that gun was fucking sick to use in zombies.
Yeah.
And also, I love the Blades of Chaos and God of War.
Oh my god, duh. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't say that. It's like the best melee weapon of all time.
Yeah, that might be number one.
Yeah, they're just swords attached to chains that he can do whatever he wants with. It's so cool.
Yeah, swords as nunchucks almost.
Yeah.
So sick. How he swings off of them, how he throws them. They're just like the shape of them is super sick. Like perfect for slicing like cucumbers or whatever.
Right. And people. Sometimes.
He's probably a great cook. Kratos.
You think so? He probably is. Yeah.
Yeah, he probably just cuts a mammoth in half and then like throws it in a smoker.
We're eating mammoth today, boy.
Dude, I could just imagine Kratos in like a chef's outfit with like an apron, butt ass naked.
Ooh. Dude, his ass is probably so defined.
God tier ass.
Yeah. Think of it, it's probably so defined and like got the perfect bubble shape to it, you know?
Probably.
Pure muscle.
That thing is thangin', as they say. For Kratos. So
yeah,
quick competition.
I also want to shout out the Halo 3 sniper. My favorite sniper in video games. Fuck, and I had and the Halo 3 Spartan laser, the Splazer.
Oh yeah.
Such a fun weapon to use. I loved that gun so much. So I wanted to throw that out also. And I'm sure I'm going to think of 300 more after this, after we end here. But for now, I think that's good. God, I know I'm forgetting some, but it's okay. I'll never be able to list everything. So
yeah,
gotta stop.
It's part of being human.
Trying to look at all my games here that I have listed.
I know, right?
I'm looking at just like a massive wall of games. Some of them.
Same.
Yeah. All right. So
yeah.
You want to wrap up?
Yeah.
The Prowler in Apex, man. Greatest feeling gun in video game history, maybe. So good.
The Gnasher.
Yeah, Gnasher's fantastic too. All right.
The torque bow.
Ooh, yeah, the torque bow is a really cool idea. It's like a crossbow that blows up.
And it's very powerful. It's not like some bitch arrow that they throw in other games.
Yeah.
It does fucking damage.
Yeah, it's like a bow and arrow that works like a crossbow, kind of, that blows up. It's so dope. Gear Epic, or I guess it would be, at the time it was Epic. So Epic between Gears and Unreal, and then Insomniac between Ratchet and Clank and Resistance. Jesus Christ. Ratchet and Clank and Resistance. They have some of the most creative guns ever. Shout out, there's so many Ratchet and Clank weapons I could shout out, like the Groovatron, where you just throw out you shoot out this disco ball and then all the enemies around start dancing so you can just kill them all. Or the Sheepinator, where you shoot them and they turn into a sheep. So many cool guns in Ratchet and Clank. And then actual guns like guns that shoot like a rocket machine gun. So like the Rhino.
Jeez.
So, dude, Ratchet and Clank easily has the coolest, most creative weapons in video gaming.
I gotta play Rift, man.
Yes.
I gotta.
It's gonna be phenomenal.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I guess just other games that I just want to at least say the names of them before we wrap. Put a nice little bow on this generation of gaming. The South Park games, absolutely phenomenal. Dragon Ball FighterZ, Mortal Kombat 11, Ghost of Tsushima, Infamous Second Son, and Resogun. So, and Persona 5. So, yeah, just nothing's better than video games, man. I gotta tell you.
I know.
Yeah, Resogun still might be the most fun game of this generation. Like, from pure, obviously, it's such a niche. Like, if you don't like arcade twin stick shooters, you're not gonna like it. But of all of the games I've played over the past 7 years, the most pure fun might have come from Resogun. So shout out to Housemark. You guys made a masterpiece.
Shout outs.
So
shout outs.
That's all I got. Do you have anything else you wanna wrap up with?
I just want to say that it was a great generation of games with a lot of memories, and the nice thing with video games, obviously it's just a moment to share with friends, make memories, enjoy, the story or multiplayer, and just it's really just to hang out with people and create memories. But the also really cool thing about video games is that they're still constantly improving so much. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many good things being added. There's more thought being involved in games. There's more, the budgets are just getting bigger and bigger, almost like movie type budgets.
Yep.
So I'm just excited to see like how crazy video games are with not just graphics, which is the obvious thing, but the little things that we appreciate and we don't always notice, but the like just audio improvements, or different ways to use weapons, just how they adapt. And I'm super thankful that I was introduced to video games at a young age, and I'm excited to just experience like the masses amounts of. I can't even imagine what next gen's going to be like when we're talking about next gen's podcasts in like 7 years or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Xbox tweeted out a funny video today where they were playing The Witcher 3 on an Xbox Series X. And when you fast travel in that game, like currently you like hit where you want to fast travel to, it loads up, and then you appear at the spot that you fast travel to. Well, on Xbox Series X, it loads the map before the loading screen triggers. So like they hit fast travel, and then they just popped up where they wanted to fast travel to, and the game kind of like glitched out for a second because it still wanted to like put up the loading screen, but it was already loaded. So yeah, so like just that kind of thing is totally insane.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yep. So that, of course, next week on episode 57 of Chillin' for Our Lives, we're going to look to the future, look to see what we got. We might not go the entire episode just talking about stuff like that like we did this time. Hope you all enjoyed it. Please, if you did, subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter, give us a little comment telling us like, yeah, I like this kind of thing, or like, fuck you guys, get back to the jokes only. So hopefully we made you laugh a couple times at least. So until next time, I'm Sean. That's Mike. We love you all, and bye.
Bye.